Hi, hope everybody's doing well today. My name is Marcus Brown. I'm the lead facilitator here at the Kansas City Public Library's Digital Media Lab. Also formerly a teacher at Genesis School. I taught math and media production there. Today I'm going to be focusing on math. Get a quite large number of students that come into the lab. Some of them working on grade level. A lot of them that are not working on grade level. Again, and the problem with that is simply that these are good kids that are showing up to school every day, and so it's really no reason for these young people to have deficits that we're seeing, um, particularly with math. But what I'm seeing is a lot of young people are not having the basic skills that they need to be successful at the high school level. Not trying to cast any shade here or blame yet anyway. That's going to be the next video. But first, I just want to take a little bit of time to look at what we're responsible for knowing by the time we're freshmen or sophomores in high school. So I had a young man come to me. He needed tutoring for math. He was getting ready to get into Lincoln, was looking to get into Lincoln and leaving Allen Village, which is a charter school, going to a public school. So they gave him this test, this California Achievement Test, which focuses on reading, math, and language arts. And did fine with the reading, did fine with the language arts, but struggled with the math. He took it the first time, the math, and failed it. Then so he and his mom came here to the lab for tutoring. Was able to work with the young man over a series of several weeks to get him up to speed. He still actually had to take the test two more times. So after we had conversation about him taking the test, I was like, well, what happened then? He was like, I just kind of breezed through it. And it's like, breeze through it, man. Well, you got to take this a little bit more serious and think about how you're going to actually know this information. And so consequently, that third time, he actually passed the test. Mom was happy. He wound up getting into Lincoln. I needed to tutor him maybe one more time after that because it was really simply a point of getting those basic skills shored up. And again, at this particular point, I I don't normally teach for a test. Oh, excuse me. I don't normally teach for a test, but that was the mission, and so that's what we did. But we're just going to take a few minutes to go through the math section and look at some of these questions here. And as we see, this is the expectation of some basic information, some basic math information that you should have to learn and know by the time you're entering your sophomore year in high school. How to deal with integers, decimals, how to add and subtract fractions. Again, I'm seeing a lot of young people that have no idea what to do with fractions. And what's the problem there? It's inconceivable to me that unless you have a good command of fractions that you're going to really be successful in algebra. The problem won't be that you can't understand the algebraic concepts. The problem will be that the child or the student will not be able to do the math and the thinking that goes along with it. Fractions are part and parcel. Algebra assumes that you are good with fractions. Again, fractions assumes that you know how to multiply and divide. So I'm seeing consistently where we have young people that are in middle school and young people that are in high school that don't know all of their basic multiplication facts. Again, it makes it really hard to deliver algebraic content if our young people can't calculate properly. So let's just continue to go through this. We see, again, just some basic addition, 4-digit numbers here, again, showing you decimals in a different form here on number 6. So, again, finding a common denominator, adding mixed numbers here. All of this stuff is things that we should have been introduced at the point when we were in 5th, 6th grade, definitely by middle school or junior high school. If you came out when I did, you should have been seeing those concepts. One other anecdote is definitely I'm seeing where they're teaching algebra younger. They're teaching algebra as young as the 6th grade. We didn't get algebra and start using variables until our freshman year in high school. Now, is that a bad thing? In and of itself, no, but it is bad if you have not mastered your basic skills that you need to be successful in the third and the fourth and the fifth grade. Then when you get to the sixth grade and you throw the new concepts on me and I haven't mastered those basic skills, there's this expectation that I should be able to do the work. And if we spend time as educators layering on new information and new concepts before they've mastered the old ones, it will make it difficult. And I'm also seeing where in the middle school, they either don't have the time or the bandwidth or the understanding to go back and remediate with these students over this basic knowledge. And again, in my tutoring of all of the students that I've worked with, nobody has needed to consistently come to me more than 3 weeks for tutoring to get those basic skills together. So what might seem insurmountable really only takes us to be really, really focused and committed to the process of over a short period of time in order to wake up those basic skills. We move on down again. Now we move from, addition and subtraction. Now we're getting into some multiplication here. Again, things that we should know by the time we reach high school. We were doing a standardized test one time at Genesis School. Young man in the 7th grade, giving his all. He had a multiplication question that was 23 times 16. And I watched him write down 23 16s and add them up. Now, to his credit, he was using the tools that he had in his toolbox. He knew how to add, but he didn't know how to multiply with 2 digits at the top and 2 digits at the bottom. Again, and that's one of those things that's really, mistaken amongst our young people, is that they're not interested or that they don't want to do a good job and have a good showing on these tests. This kid was doing his level best and using the tools that he had. Now, the problem is that it's going to take him forever to finish a test. And so even if he gets the questions correct that he did first, by the time we're getting to the end of the testing period, he'll probably have 10, 15 questions that he's just going to have to fill in the blank just so that it's not empty. So those are just some of the things that give me pause about teaching algebra in middle school, is because we still have time to remediate those basic skills before algebra is required for credit in high school. So now we'll get down here again. We just went through addition, subtraction now. Addition and subtraction, multiplication, and now here we're in division. Now again, we look at number 2. It assumes that you know that you need to change these from mixed numbers to improper fractions. And number 2, it also assumes that you understand the reciprocal, meaning that that division sign changes to a multiplication sign, and that 2.5 would be inverted after we converted it to an improper fraction. So makes big assumptions. Again, number 4 makes assumptions that we understand how to do long division and what to do with decimals in that process. A lot of assumptions being made. That should be true, but what I'm seeing is that it's not. Even working with a couple of seniors the other day, and one was telling me, man, I haven't seen fractions since, I was in middle school. The other one was saying, man, I haven't did a two-step, a simple 3x plus 5 equals 15 type equation since I was freshman. Now, these are seniors, and so now math is only required for 3 years. And both of the guys, good kids, show up every day. When I asked them to show and prove, they showed and showed me where they were working and are thoughtful young men, but nobody's really impressing upon our students that they need to carry this information with them. So that becomes huge in the process. Huge in the process that we are remembering and carrying this information with us. Now, again, we get down here. I'm looking at numbers 1 and number 2 here. Number 1 assumes that we understand what all of these symbols are, that this is ounces, and that the square root has been introduced to students in a formal way. Number 2 assumes that we know what to do with exponents, and this is a cube one. What do we do here? Now look at number 3. The figure below is made up of a rectangle and a triangle. Find the area of the figure. Again, the assumption is that we know the area, the formula for the area of a rectangle and the formula for the area of a triangle and what to do with those two things. So again, we want to think that our young people are really grasping everything, but we teach it, and then as fast as it goes in, is as fast as it goes out, because we still are not impressing upon students that math is cumulative, particularly when we get to algebra. Everything that I learned in chapter 1 is going to be in one question in chapter 2. Everything that I learned in chapter 2 is going to be in one question in chapter 3. And so, again, that becomes just crucial in the process. Again, we get down here, we look at number 7. We have perpendicular, parallel, right angle, and angle. Again, the symbol here means perpendicular. Now, again, making assumptions that I've seen this and carried it with me. I might learn something like this at the beginning of the first semester. Then I have, a whole year of math where we don't use these concepts again, but I'm expected to remember. And so we can't compartmentalize the information, leave what we learned in the first month or two of school behind, and then assume that for whatever reason that those students are going to retain that information. It doesn't work. Again, number 9, Roman numerals. I think we skimmed Roman numerals at one point in time in school, but it was never a hard lesson. I never was tested over Roman numerals. It became, something that I wanted to know as I was reading books, and, things were numbered different. And also being a football fan, numbering and knowing what Super Bowl we were on. Go Chiefs. Hopefully we'll be on another title come a very short time. But I was never tested over it. The only reason why I'm as solid as I am with dealing with Roman numerals is because I chose to study that independently as an adult, not as a child. So again, we got to kind of give ourselves a break in some of the respects, but also at the same time, we have to think about what we're going after and what we actually want to learn ourselves. Number 10 assumes we know and understand the distributive process and the distributive property, I should say, to understand that I multiply the 5 times the 4x and the 5 times the 2. Big assumptions here versus trying to add these. I just make some assumptions that I can only add like terms. So all of that becomes huge. We think because we don't have certain skills, it means smart or dumb. What it really means is that you don't know or you haven't been introduced. I would love to say that I was a math whiz, but I had to work really, really, really hard to be proficient at math. It's not something that came to me easy. So again, and that's the other thing too, everybody wants to make learning fun and not, really dig down and understand that these things worth having and things that we can build a career off of are not going to come to us easy, and they're not going to come to us cheap. So, we got to shore it up. Again, a big problem with why I hated this testing system is because I would never get a whole class full of students that worked on grade level. On average, I would have anywhere from 40 to 60% of the students coming to me that could not just flat out do all of their basic multiplication facts. So now, if I'm teaching you algebra or teaching you the concepts that you're supposed to be responsible for in middle school, then I look back and see that you haven't received what you were supposed to get in the 3rd and the 4th grade. I have to fill that gap. I'm not teaching you anything unless, I fill that gap. So here's the problem. If I take you from 3rd, 4th grade to 7th, 8th grade, and you're a freshman that should be doing algebra, I get 0 credit for that. Even if you're in 6th grade, you're supposed to already know how to multiply and have mastered those facts. So even if I get you up to speed with that, get you up to speed on how to do long division and fractions, you should have already been introduced to that in the 4th or the 5th grade, not the 6th grade. So again, I still get 0 credit for filling that gap. Parked here on the word problems. I'm going to move on. This video is becoming a little longer than I wanted it to be. Might have to cut some out. But this is where we never do well in general, word problems. Why? Because this is the reality of using math, and we cannot use math right now currently as a viable tool uh, in seeking and setting our course as adults in general. Our young people can't use math. They don't own it. They're not owning it. And then, just even when we're teaching, we see that the word problems are often at the end. And that's where young people run out of gas. But that's also where the money is, solving problems. And we can't just skirt over that because, there's rare situations where we just need to compute numbers. They're always applied to some real life scenario, whether it's buying a car and figuring out the interest rate, a home or something of that nature, splitting a bill at a restaurant. All of those have real world implications, let alone if we're getting into, fields of engineering or architecture, robotics, where math is central to the process. So again, if we can't solve word problems, we can't solve real life problems. Math is, now again, everybody's not running around doing algebra as adults and using that component in their life. But you will need math. You will need to know how to find what that discount is on those pair of shoes that you want to get when it's 20% off or 30% off. So we have to really, 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 really evaluate how we're looking at this thing different. Again, I'm just making sure that if you do encounter the fact that your child can't or is not learning properly, that you do have a resource here in the Kansas City Public Library, not only here in the Digital Media Lab, but we have a multitude of online tools that can help our young people matriculate through. So stay tuned for more. I'm going to continue to dig into these test scores, continue to lay out concepts and tools that we can use in order to help. Again, if you want to take a simple test to see where your child is at, and you want assistance with that, let me know, because we can definitely do that. Because, and I'm going to end on this, just because you're a student, your child is passing classes and getting A's, does not mean that they're learning, okay? We have to know that. And so with that being said, stay tuned for the next episode. Again, we're going to start talking about whose responsibility this is as it relates to the teachers, the parents, the students, the district, the state. Whose responsibility is it that 80% of our young people can't do Algebra 1 at the appropriate time that you guys say it should be done? So we're going to continue to investigate again. Resource here, hit me up, Southeast Branch Library, 6242 Swell Parkway, Marcus Brown at kclibrary.org. So just holler at me. We're here to help.